Hi, my name is Patrick Steele, and this is a video presentation of my portfolio project for the Nucamp Backend SQL and DevOps with Python course. I call it Cat Track REST API, and it's up on Google Cloud right now. It's a backend for an app that a small cat rescue could use to track cats, cat locations, fosters, etc. This is a browsable API. I've left that up, not something you would normally do in production, but wanted to make it easy to see how things looked in here. This is a list of some pre-populated data I put in for fosters. As you can see, these all map to the SQL tables on the back end. I can actually enter data in here if I wanted to. One of the interesting challenges I ran into was I needed many-to-many tables for a couple of relationships. But when I wanted to do the vet visits and the prescriptions, I needed to do many and add some fields. Normally, a many-to-many relationship in Django does not require an intermediate table or a bridge table. In this case, it did. Here's one example with the prescriptions. I got 3 foreign keys: cat, vet, and the medication. Then these fields are all added: date prescribed, prescription number, dosage, frequency, instructions, etc. My views, I actually use view sets instead of API views. They're much easier, take much less code to implement CRUD operations, and they work great. On to serializers. The serializers basically serialize the JSON IO. So any JSON, any data coming in is in JSON format. It makes sure things are mapped to the right keys and values are mapped to the right fields. Same on output, it converts your output to a serialized JSON output. The URLs.py is where the magic happens with the URLs. This is where we begin to define how our URLs look. We have one for each view set, and those actually show up in the main API, browsable API here. They're appended to the path as fosters, cats, vets, medications, prescriptions, vet visits. Those are all defined in this routers and URL patterns. My local development environment is set up to use Docker Compose to start 2 containers locally. One's for the app and one's for the Cloud SQL proxy to the actual production Cloud SQL database hosted on Google. The local Git repository is connected to the GitHub repository. Any push to the remote repository will trigger Google Cloud Build. For instance, if I was to delete this file here, this delete me file, delete, and then I run my little sh script, which will actually cause a push up to my repository of that change, and that should actually trigger a build on Google Cloud, which would be here, and like so. And there goes the build, and there it goes. And this is the logging as it runs. It's basically a simple CI/CD pipeline. It's come in very handy, very neat way to work. It lets me work on the live database, makes it easy to do flushes, things like that. All of this build is defined in this cloud build YAML file. It's pretty straightforward. It's all up in my repository. To test the CRUD operations, create, read, update, and delete of each object. I've used Insomnia. There's actually an exported config in my GitHub repository for that. As you can see, we have a list of 4 cats here: Belle, Pikachu, Poppy, Gregory. If I want to create a cat, I set this up beforehand. We'll call it Proxima. We're going to assign it to foster number 2. We'll see who that is in just a second. Cat is created. If we go back to read, send that, and we see Proxima right down here. We could update that cat. I won't go through that. It's the same as a post. Or we could delete that cat, and that cat is number 8, I believe it was. So let's do that. And then go back to our read cats. And there it goes. So if I recreate the cat, Proxima, I can also take a look at my fosters and see if Proxima is showing up on ID 2, which is foster freeze. Yeah, I got a little creative with the names. So as you can see, CRUD operations are working. I have one for each model set up in the template, so feel free to play with that all you want. This concludes my presentation for my project. I hope you enjoyed it. It's been very quick. It was hard to cram all this into 5 minutes, and I appreciate your patience. Thank you so much.